So let's call the meeting of the Finance Committee to order. As chair of the Finance Committee, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04 and subsequent extensions, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that we are providing public access to the meeting by telephone, with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. To access Zoom, please refer to the agenda or to the city's website for the meeting link. To join by phone, dial 1-929-205-6099. The meeting ID is 853-0527-4432, and the passcode is 951267. The public may also view the meeting via channel 16. We previously gave notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting through public postings. Instructions have also been provided on the City of Nashua's website at www.nashuanh.gov and publicly noticed at City Hall and the Nashua Public Library. If anybody has a problem accessing the meeting via phone or channel 16, please call 603-821-2049 and they will help you connect. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting via the methods I've already discussed, the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call. Let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, please also state whether there is anyone in the room with you during the meeting, which is required under the right to know law. So Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Alderman Patricia Clee.
She can't make it.
Okay.
She contacted me.
Okay. Alderwoman Elizabeth Liu. Clerk says I am present. I'm in this room alone and I'm practicing social distancing. Alderwoman at Large Shoshana Kelly.
I'm here. I'm in this room alone and I can hear everyone.
Alderman at Large Brandon Michael Laws.
I am here. I'm alone and I can hear you.
Alderman at Large Michael B. O'Brien Sr.
I am present. I can hear the proceedings and I am alone.
And Mayor Jim Duchess.
I am present. I am alone in the room and I'm exercising social distancing. All right, our first item is public comment. Is there any member of the public who would like to address the committee?
Laura Cahoon.
Could you wait? Let me just finish the attendance. I see that Alderwoman Liu has joined us.
Okay.
So she should be recorded. And I think you need to say, Alderwoman Liu, that you're present and you're exercising social distancing and that kind of thing. But you're on mute.
Here, I can hear you. I'm practicing social distancing.
All right, good. Ms. Colhoun, could you please proceed?
And I'm alone.
My name is Laura Cahoon. I'm at 30 Greenwood Drive. I'm a little confused by the item renovations for City Hall being charged to the Gopher funds. When I received the Gopher fund schedule from the mayor back in August, it stated that it was already overdrawn by approximately $500,000. And that figure did not include any renovations to City Hall. I just received the actual bills that the city sent to the state to back up the approximate $2,100,000 Gopher funds received by the city. And these invoices show that the city overspent by $372,000. So how can the Finance Committee approve bills against an account that is already overdrawn? I have noticed that some of the Gopher expense bills have been charged to the FEMA account, which the city knows will not get it will not be paid by FEMA to the city. So why is the city still stating that these expenses are gopher charges when they are clearly not? Is the city playing hide and seek with the residents so that they do not know how much money the mayor is spending? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Any other members of the public want to address the committee? If not, we'll go to communications. The first from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Mr. Mayor, I motion to accept, place on file, and award the contract for the lead paint risk assessment inspection services to Almy Lead Management in amount not to exceed $336,000. Funding will be through Department 184 Urban Programs, account 54225, lead paint-based paint hazard control grant by roll call.
Thank you. Before I turn this over to Ms. Skeena, this is, of course, being funded by a multi-million-dollar grant received for lead abatement. And Ms. Carrie Skeena and her staff have done a really great job in yet again being awarded this competitive multi-year grant. It should de-lead very many units. Also, once they're de-leaded, they become affordable and have a rent restriction for 5 years after the work is done. With that, I see Ms. Skeena is with us, so I will turn this over to her to have her explain what the specifics of this contracts are about.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's Carrie Skeena, Manager of the Urban Programs Department. As the mayor said, this is a multi-million-dollar grant, the total amount being $5.7 million. It will run for 3.5 years, and we will hope to address hazards in about 210, maybe 250 units, depending on how far we can stretch that budget. This contract was put out for proposals. We received 2 responses. This contractor, Alchemy Lead Management, is actually under contract or just finishing up her contract for the grant we just closed out. This is the city's 5th lead paint award, and we've worked with this person in the past. They have a good-sized company. They're locally based in New Hampshire. So really what they do is we contract this out because it's highly specialized and licensed. The state of New Hampshire licenses the individuals. They carry all the liability insurance. So we coordinate with them. They go in and basically test every painted surface in the property after we've qualified the units and draw up a report to tell us exactly where those lead hazards are. And from that, we internally have staff that do a scope of work, and then it gets put out to bid to licensed abatement contractors. So this is kind of the first piece of it. This is, again, it will cover about 3.5 years. The money has been committed by HUD, and we really hope to have another successful program. We were thankful to get that grant. As the mayor said, it's great for the city. Protects hundreds of young children from the dangers of lead paint and lead poisoning.
Any members of the committee have comments, questions? I don't see anything. So, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Alderwoman Lou,
Sorry about that. Oh, yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Darchis.
Yes. Motion passes. Next communication from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
I motion to accept, place on file, and approve the purchase of 2 electric hybrid gasoline vans to Creative Bus Sales in an amount not to exceed $346,000, $173,000 each. Funding will be $294,100 from FTA Low-No Emission Grant. $25,950 from New Hampshire State year 2019 fiscal budget and State Transportation Improvement Plan, STIP, and $26,828 from FY17 SURF budget by roll call.
And Ms. Camille Patterson, the transit manager, is here to discuss this item, this purchase.
Thank you. So these are, the purchase of these two electric hybrid vans will replace our last two old vehicles in the fleet. This was a nationally competitive grant, the low, no emission, and these are, difficult funds to obtain. We have some local match from the state and then the rest from the SURF. And as I said, at this point, after we replace these, our entire fleet will be relatively new. Nothing is beyond its useful life. And this will continue, because they are the electric hybrids, continue to help the city achieve the goal of reducing municipal vehicle emissions by 25% by 2025.
And this was a competitive grant that we obtained because you are doing such a good job managing the system, right?
Exactly. Actually, it helped that they were electric hybrid. The advantage too of an electric hybrid versus the electric, you don't have to have quite as much of the electrical infrastructure, and the price point for vans is better to go with the electric hybrid than the fully electric.
Any comments or questions from the committee? Okay, I don't see anyone. Could the clerk please call the roll?
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, and the motion passes. Next communication is again from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Mr. Mayor, I motion to accept, placed on file, and approve change order number 1 to the contract with ChemServe Environmental Analyst of Milford, New Hampshire, for water quality testing and monitoring service at all of the City of Nashua landfill sites for the Solid Waste Department in the amount not to exceed $29,888. Funding will be through Department 168 Solid Waste Fund, Solid Waste Account Classification, 55 other contracted services by roll call.
And I believe Mr. LaFleur is here, the landfill manager, although I guess his dog is barking, so he needs to get up for a minute.
Sorry about that. Yes. Jeff LaFleur, Superintendent Solid Waste. This is a 3-year contract that we have with ChemServe. This is our last year with ChemServe for this contract. Each year, DES decides what we need to do for testing at the landfills, and PFOAs was a big one in the past 3 years. So the added expenditures are here, and we decided to take the added expenditures from each year and just roll them over to the last year and just do one change order at the end. So this is why you're seeing the $29,000 change order for the contract.
Anyone? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, the motion passes. Next communication from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
I motion to accept, placed on file, and approve the City Hall building renovations change order number 1, 2, and 3 with DL King and Associates in the amount of $26,552.21. Funding will be through the Gopher Grant by roll call.
All right, now I think we skipped the motion.
Yeah.
We skipped the landfill permit application.
Oh, yeah, I did. Can I come back to it?
Well, let's take them in order. So why
All
not-
right.
We've already made the other motion, though. We won't reread the motion. So can you do, can we do the
The
landfill?
landfill, okay. I motion to accept, place on file, and approve services from Sanborn Head and Associate Inc., Shire of Concord, New Hampshire, in an amount of $30,000 to address New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services comments to the Type 1A permit application for the proposed Phase 4 secure landfill expansion. Funding will be through Department 168 Solid Waste Fund Solid Waste. Activity expansion Phase 3 and 4 by roll call.
Mr. LaFleur?
Yes, sir. Sorry about that. Unbelievable. Jeff LaFleur, Superintendent Solid Waste. This is for Sanborn Head to respond to all of our questions that we got after we submitted our permit application for the Phase 4 landfill. There was 37 some odd questions, so there's a lot of engineering that has to go into this to answer the questions properly the way that DES would like to have them answered. And this will help us secure the Phase 4 landfill, which should help secure 40 years plus of airspace.
Discussion? Any members of the committee? Could the clerk please call the roll?
Alderwoman Lou.
Yes.
Clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Laws.
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien.
Yes.
And Mayor Dodges.
Yes, and the motion passes. The next
Thank you.
item is from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager, related to the City Hall building renovations. Alderman Harriet Gathright already made this motion, so we won't repeat it. But I see that we have Ms. Kleiner, Administrative Services Director, here, and I suspect she's here to address this item.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the Finance Committee. Yes, so what you will see here is throughout the past few months with this project starting in October and still presently in the works, we have had a number of change orders, none of which are of great surprise when you have a project of this sort with a building the age of City Hall. It's to be expected that you are going to find things once you get into the type of construction that we are undertaking. There is certainly some where we've tried to cut expenses. We have done so. So you'll see a number of credits that are offset by some other unforeseen charges that were completely necessary in order to move forward with the project. Just to give the committee a little bit of where we are currently, we assessing, we expect to be done and have some staff back in by the end of the month. Motor vehicles is going to take a little longer with materials being delayed due to COVID, but we're hoping for the end of February. And then we will move on to the city clerk once both of these departments are finished. And I can certainly speak to any of the items that are listed or any of the change orders. I think the most important to note is in change order 1, there was some abatement work that needed to be done for asbestos that was found in both the motor vehicles flooring and the pipes within the assessing ceiling. We knew that we may come across some. So prior to starting the project, risk management had called in a firm and they had given us an estimate, which was included in the RFP. We made sure it was included in the bids. However, it was not enough once they reached down and really looked into the scope of the subflooring. So that's one of the most costly items that you will see.
Any questions from the committee? Alderman O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'd like to direct a question to Ms. Kleiner. Maybe the public would like to know the history of City Hall, about when it was built, you know, during the Depression era, and it was built economically at the time. So I think today we're trying to keep it modern, save the taxpayers instead of replacing it. It is a grand old building, and so all this money, it is about time. Because a lot of this stuff is antiquated. I do know we have some staff, almost offices are in closets, but we are doing well in making space. So if you could speak something on how we're really trying to improve all that.
Certainly, and Alderman O'Brien, you couldn't be more correct. Not only is it an old building, there are significant space issues within City Hall, and we've tried to be as creative as possible as staff is added or departments change in their scope and their size. I'll give you for instance, part of this project included when you are entering from the back of the Elm Street entrance and heading into the rotunda, there was a doorway there that was a single doorway due to the addition on the old original City Hall. That doorway being a single doorway into a very large rotunda often caused problems for people. It certainly caused problems for social distancing. And in order to widen that doorway to the size that it should have been had the building originally been built to have that hallway, we actually had to remove the marble on the rotunda side of the hallway. And that has to be done very carefully. There's very few contractors that will even undertake this work. We're very happy with how it has turned out, and we wanted to make sure that the historical preservation of the building was intact. Our assessing department, we literally, we had people on top of people and with files stacked everywhere, outgrowing our vault. We're handling that not only with the building renovations, but also with the addition of DocuWare and now making electronic files. But every time there is an addition to City Hall, there is an issue with space, and that's just as the city grows, City Hall is going to grow. And we need to make sure that we are using all of our space to the best advantage that we can. I think people are going to be very happy with the changes that we're making. We are keeping in mind that our number one priority is serving our residents and making sure that we can serve them in the way that they deserve to be.
All right, I think I saw that. Do you have anything else, Alderman O'Brien? No.
All set. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I think I saw Alderwoman Lou.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. When did, if I could throw you to Ms. Kleiner, when did the construction begin?
So, Mayor,
Yeah, go ahead.
the Finance Committee approved the project in September. By the time crews had actually entered the facility and started to get to the work, it was the beginning of October. We've certainly had our challenges with COVID. We've had some staff that has been out, some closings. We've had materials that have been delayed because manufacturers had COVID issues. Anyone who's undergoing construction right now is quite familiar with extremely long lag times on getting materials in. So we expected at the time that we had put the RFP out that we could have this phase of the project completed by the end of November. And as you can see, that has not happened. But the DL King is moving as fast as they can and putting as much pressure on their subcontractors as they possibly can.
Okay, thank you. I just have a follow-up if I could, please.
Of course.
I wanted to say, it's so funny, I always do this. I thought it had been about 6 months. But that always seems to be the case with me. I think that I've been waiting for a return call for about 2 weeks and someone says, well, you called me 3 days ago. But is it possible that we could just respond to the concerns about the question that one of the public had on putting the funds into Gopher when they when the the member of the public feels
Yeah.
that our Gopher fund is empty. I am curious about that question. So if I could just ask you to, or have someone respond to it.
Yes, of course. Could you please, can you update us on the
Yeah.
status of the Gopher funds?
So CFO Griffin and I updated the budget committee a little over a week ago. So when this project and some other projects we knew that these needed to be done in order to comply with CDC social distancing protocols. And we knew that the city was going to receive the Gopher grant from the state. A Gopher grant fund was set up within the city, which these charges are being charged to. That's why you see that referenced in Ms. Parkinson's memo.
Mhm.
As CFO Griffin explained to the budget committee, what we found was that he was informed by the state that charges needed projects completed, and those charges needed to be submitted to the state as in October. So in order to do that, one of the eligible expenses was safety and first responder payroll. So that's what was submitted to the state, which frees up money in our budget for these other charges, which we are tracking to the Gopher fund. It's as simple as that. So there's no, we expected that we would have this project done and that we would be able to submit the whole project completed to the state. That didn't happen, but we had other eligible expenses that we were able to submit, which frees up other money. It's as simple as that.
Okay, thank you. Could I just follow up on that?
I could supplement that a little bit. So you have probably seen that there's some transfers being proposed from the police department. So what happened is we're using the Gopher funds for police expenses and then transferring money from the police department, because now they have extra because of the use of the Gopher funds, back over to City Hall uses.
Yes, I realize, yeah, I remember that happening at the budget committee. I just wanted to point out that, for the record, that a lot of the work, once we needed to do COVID work in City Hall, we were required to do ADA work, compliant work as well. And while we can't expect to be reimbursed for that through the Gopher fund, it's just the price of doing business at this point. We had to conform with ADA, require American with disabilities. So, okay, I just wanted to point that out for the record. Thank you.
All right, anyone else have any questions or comments from Ms. Kleiner? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
Clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Motion passes. Oh, I vote yes and the motion passes. Next communication from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager, who is present. Thank you, Ms. Parkinson. I didn't really recognize you. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
I motion to accept, place on file, and award a contract to conduct a dependent eligibility verification audit on the city's medical and dental plans to health decisions. Part D advisors in an amount not to exceed $33,000. Funding will be through account 53999, other professional services by roll call.
Ms. Kleiner.
Good evening. So this is actually a project that we discussed during the budget last spring. Most employers undergo some sort of dependent eligibility audit. It's common that you would undergo this in a certain period of time, every 5 to 10 years. It has been a while since the city has done this. But as you know, with healthcare costs being a major concern, it is not only a good audit to undergo for that reasoning, but it's also a good audit to undergo just to make sure that we are living up to our role of being a good healthcare provider. So back in November, we placed we received bids in through WBS, Workplace Benefit Solution, our provider, from 4 different firms that perform this type of service. Myself, the Workplace Benefit Solution team, Director Boudreau, and our benefits team reviewed all the proposals. It was quite clear to us that Health Decisions PDA was the firm that we should choose. They have over 27 years in business, and they average a 5% removal and ineligible rate. And they've never had a successful employee appeal. And that is important. It's also rare never to have one in the past 30 years that they have been performing audits. Their costs were also in line. They do offer a performance guarantee of a maximum of 5% of their fee. And that is, although that is common for firms to offer, they were the highest of all the firms that did bid the project. We have been in discussion. This does include schools in all of the city. So we've been in conversation with the schools. This firm will do all of the work and meet with the city staff regularly to let us know of any concerns. But we expect that the project will be complete in time for open enrollment late April, early May of this year.
Questions, comments? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, motion passes. Next, we have a communication from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager.
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Harriet Gathright.
I motion to accept, placed on file, and approve change order number 1 to Marvel America's contract by adding 2 vibration sensors to the generator and 6 vibration sensors to the gearbox, connecting all sensors to the terminal box, and configuring all sensors in the control system by increasing the contract price by $5,800 from $272,700 to $1,277,500 by roll call.
All right, and I believe Waterways Manager Deb Chisholm is here. So could you please, Ms. Chisholm, explain this item?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Well, as you know, this turbine replacement project at Jackson Mills is a major investment that really shows the city's commitment to clean, renewable energy. And this small change order, which is hopefully the only change order on this contract, is really, it's something that adds additional measures that will protect that investment. These vibration sensors are really the first warning signal, if you will, to any type of vibration issues with the turbine itself. We've got heat sensors that are also being installed, but the vibration sensors actually can sense the problem even before the heat sensors. So it's just a bit of added protection on this investment.
Okay. Now the change order is for $5,800, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now technically, we don't have to come to the committee on a change order of that size, but we thought we'd let you know about it anyway. Anybody have any questions or concerns or comments about this? Alderwoman Lou.
Sorry about this. Isn't the change order $5,800?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. The
Oh.
threshold though is 25,000 actually.
The change, I didn't hear that, Mayor.
We are coming to you with a change order that's smaller than the minimum that we really have to, but we
Oh,
just.
yes, yes, I thought you said it was 1,500.
Oh, well, if I did, I misspoke. It's
Okay.
5,800.
Thank you. I'm all set.
Anybody? I don't see anyone else. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Alderwoman Lou.
Yes.
Clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Laws.
Yes, sorry.
Alderman O'Brien.
Yes.
And Mayor Dodges.
Yes. Motion passes. We're on to unfinished business. We have none. New business resolutions, we have none. New business ordinances, we have none. Next is the record of expenditures. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Mr. Mayor, I motion that the Finance Committee has complied with the city charter and ordinance pertaining to the record of expenditures for the period from December 11th, 2020 to December 31st, 2020 by roll call.
Discussion? Could you please call the roll?
Alderwoman Lou.
Yes.
Clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Laws.
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien.
Yes.
And Mayor Dodges.
Yes. General discussion. Is there any general discussion? How about public comment? Is there any member of the public who would like to address the committee? Alderman's comments? Do we have any alderman's comments? Alderman O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess we don't, or perhaps we don't say it enough, but we had several items on the agenda this evening where our wonderful staff has done a great job in seeking these grants, therefore saving the taxpayers of the city tons of money and getting very important things such as the example in the lead paint removal or abatement. So nice job, everybody, and thank you.
I second that definitely. What, anyone else? Any other comments from Alderman? If not, the Vice Chair, Alderwoman Klee was not able to join us. So in her absence, I will call on Alderman O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to make a motion to adjourn by roll call.
Madam Clerk?
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes. Motion passes and the meeting is adjourned at 7:40 PM. I hope everybody has a good evening.
You too.
You.
Stay safe, everyone.